In the news, Baumia endorsements, complaints, signal panic in rival camp. That's coming from an aide to the former Vice President, Dr. Baumia. Also in the news, Ghanaians must collectively fight galamsey to protect food safety. And that's from the FDA, the Food and Drugs Authority.
Yeah.
Also here, reduce NSA quota fee to 5% to ease private sector burden. That's from the AGI. And on health-related issues, the GHS dismisses reports of diarrhea outbreak in Gomwa East. The BBC Steve Martin has been speaking, and he says that use AI to responsibly protect audience trust. That's coming in following the Africa Media Bureau, conversations that took place yesterday at the Alisa Hotel. World Bank warns Ghana against early return to Eurobond market. Also here, Ghana's 2022 economic crisis not caused by COVID-19 Russia-Ukraine war. That's from the World Bank. Supreme Court misread broadcasting content regulation. That's the NMC boss. Also from the Africa Media Bureau events that took place yesterday. And finally, Finance Minister to submit Deloitte audit on DBG to Attorney General.
Right, I'm on ChannelOneNewsOnline.com. Some of the stories you'll find on our portal. Corporate Ghana gathers for City Business Olympics 2025. Other stories, U.S. restores 5-year multiple entry visas for Ghanaians after July restrictions. NPP race, Baumia's nationwide visibility gives him clear edge. That's according to his aide. External shocks didn't trigger Ghana's 2022 economic crisis. That's according to a World Bank report. And the Ghana Health Service, as you said on City Newsroom, a no diarrhea outbreak in Gomwa East Health Directorate. When you come down here to our trending stories, Energy Committee urges national security to protect VRA installations from encroachment. Other stories, Africa Media Bureau hosts broadcasting at the Crossroads Forum in Accra. Some more stories, Aduchum vows realistic leadership promises business-friendly tax system. And in the central region, police arrest man for faking robbery and kidnapping. Can you imagine? And yes, those are some of the stories you'll find here on the ChannelOneNewsOnline.com. I am on graphic.com.gh. Let me do that quickly. Graphic.com.gh. Some of the stories you'll find there. U.S. visa restrictions imposed on Ghana reversed, according to our Foreign Affairs Minister Blakwa. Ghana's UDS stuns Spanish university to reach final of FISU. 600 Ghana city fine or 3 months in jail, 2 lands in Sawam prison. What the future holds for you, Sam Jonas advised to the youth. And a truck runs over man at Alaja Junction in Accra. There's a video of that there. Israeli ambassador reaffirms commitment to strengthen ties with Ghana. Israel calls for African support in Middle East peace efforts. Railway Workers Union suspend September 30 strike for negotiations. And Vice President Nana Jane Akufo-Addo visits Ghana Garden and Flower Show. Jude?
Yes, Eno, let me take you to some other stories here reported by the newscenter.com. They also have the story from the Pharmaceutical Association of Ghana warning of the potential dangers of galamsey.
Okay.
They also report on the reversal of the U.S. visa restrictions, which, by the way, was announced by the Foreign Affairs Minister on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly meeting, where Ghana had bilateral talks with some members from the U.S. delegation. Also here, COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war did not cause Ghana's economic crisis. The World Bank is saying that. And in Osekrom today, there's a big event Are you aware of it?
Of course.
Yeah, so the
Rapaholic.
news center captures it says MTN Momo Fest storms Kumasi
Yes,
with Sarkodie's Rapaholic concert. Free SHS and the computerized placement system struggle is in the news. Overloaded SHS admission prospectus worries parents. St. George demands urgent reforms in broadcasting sector. At that same event, President Kufuor was there, and I'm referring to the African Media Bureau, former President John Ajokum Kufuor, I beg your pardon. And he said, use digital media for Africa's unity and accountability. That's coming in from John Ajokum Kufuor. And guess what? Lead Mercury found in turmeric cereal mixes and others.
Yesterday when I heard it, the way I was sad, because the way I like Tom Brown. I love Tom Brown. And it's one of those that has been cited to have
I'm in big trouble.
the presence. I'm in trouble, though.
Big trouble.
I'm in trouble. So now when the one I have is finished, I don't think I'm going to buy until I hear something different.
Serious.
It's sad. It's very sad.
And, another tragic story in Alajo. You know Alajo? Just here. Fatal accident has occurred there as a truck runs over a man.
Unfortunate.
And in an unpleasant news as well, 68 Ghanaians among 260 online scammers arrested across Africa. So it seems as though there's a big,
I think we're number one. Like when you check the list, our name is at the top there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our name is at the top there, unless maybe they didn't add. Let me not mention before I come put me in trouble. Are you done with our website? Should I go on GNA?
Yeah, you can go on.
Before I get myself into trouble. gna.org.ga, some of the stories you'll find. The future is African, President Mahama tells UN General Assembly. They have most of the UN General Assembly stories. African leaders hail Mahama for his visionary Africa Health Sovereignty Summit. Remember, they launched Resetting Accra. Other stories, UNG80, President Mahama touts Ghanaians' achievement in diaspora, citing Mami Ewusi Mensah from Pong. President Mahama reaffirms Ghana's commitment to Palestine statehood, two-state solution. Still at the UNGA, Africa is a catalyst for systemic change, according to President Mahama. Other stories, the future is African, President Mahama tells UN General Assembly. Other stories, Galamsey pit, disaster in Trifumampong, 4 trapped, 3 confirmed dead. Sam Jonah calls for involvement of chiefs, communities in Galamsey fight, and they have the full text of the president's speech. And the editor's pick, Trifuatimokwa DCE condemns assault on GNA stringer. I have Ghana weekend. Let me read some of the stories there quickly.
Sure.
There are pictures from the African Media Bureau event.
It was a really well put together event
I promise
yesterday.
you, it was very nice.
I saw the coordination. The minister was there for about 4 hours plus.
It normally doesn't happen.
Yeah,
So
he gave opening remarks, waited, joined the panel,
final panel,
contributed to other panels, went on a coffee break, came back, sat through a panel, gave the closing remark. I thought it was really amazing. And to also hear, the former president, John Ajokum Kufuor, he through his foundation, the John Ajokum Kufuor Foundation, is big on media freedom, on media rights, on responsible journalism through some of the work, his foundation does. So it wasn't too surprising seeing him there. And of course, always refreshing to listen to his insights on some of these conversations.
Yeah. So there are pictures from the African Media Bureau hosting broadcasting at the Crossroads Forum in Accra. Other stories, Ghanaian singer Creamy ties the knot. Ghana suspends all boxing activities after boxer Bahubali's death. Shatawale grants Roughtown Records Wendy Shea full rights to hit collaborations. Oh, that's nice of him. Shatawale features Vibes Cartel on Street's Crown remix. Adjoa Selfo honored as leader of Kantanka family. Other stories you'll find, Ira Star top Spotify list of female Afrobeat stars. Black Star International Film Festival kicks off 10th year with new deals. And Rihanna reveals photos of newborn daughter, Rocky Irish Mayers. The Fourth Estate expose alleges D Black pocketed 80K Ghana cedis from NLA's Good Causes Fund. Dentar dismisses political ambitions, vows to continue diaspora advocacy. Those are some of the stories on Ghana Weekend.
Let me take you to the newspapers, right? Because the Daily Graphic is reporting that illicit drug epidemic growing security concern. Eastern Region Peace Council Chairman sounds alarm. Also here, Galamsey Bruhaha, state of emergency, sure bet, activist demand. If you move to the back page, boxing at crossroads, why Ghana must embrace reform to protect fighters and preserve the sport. It comes with a photograph of Ernest Bahubali Akushe. His tragic death 10 days after his fight against Jacob Dixon has sparked calls for reforms in boxing to save the sport and fighters. I've heard an argument calling for the complete ban on boxing, right? Because, you know, per the author of that post, the sport is not necessarily competitive, right? Or is competitive in the sense that it seeks to inflict the most wounds and injury to a person or to such a time that they're unable to fight again. You know, where other sports is more about skill, talent, or you can argue that boxing is also about skill, right? But at the end, you know, he makes the point that it's just about inflicting pain and injury up until a time that your opponent is unable to continue again, right? And in his estimation, we should ban it. And there's got a lot of people talking, because this is like the second death in 2
or 3 months.
Yeah, in 6 months.
The first one was a Nigerian, right?
Yeah, it was a Nigerian that happened in Ghana.
Yeah, came to Ghana to box.
And it's shocking because the counter argument to that is that even in football, we've seen a couple of players die on the pitch in what is regarded as a way, you know, there's a lot more safety, right? But we've been seeing people die. So it's brought to the, but you know, the point really is that there are so many things we are not doing right, particularly as a country. The GBA, for example, the tightening of regulations, you know, but I have a GBA that is always fighting. You know, they are in the news almost all the time, you know, having a go at the minister or some. It's just too chaotic right now. And I agree with the suspension to fix the house, you know, before, if there'll be a lift on it.
Maybe they need to review the laws of
the laws that they are there. The laws that are there.
The laws are there, but do they follow them to the last dot?
That is where the problem is.
So, yeah, maybe the suspension will help them ensure that all of these laws
so they
and
should clean their
regulations
house.
are followed.
But I see, when this new minister took off, he didn't get off on a good note with the GBA. You know, and there were so many issues. In fact, the GBA went on record threatening the minister. Like, you could clearly tell, and sometimes they say, Agrobeswa.
Yeah, fair enough.
If, you know, so the way the administration started with boxing, we are not really surprised. But of course, these issues are structural issues that you know, have existed way predated the coming of this minister. So it will be a good legacy for him to fix those loopholes within boxing regulation in the country.
Okay, I have the Mirror newspaper, Ghana's most popular weekend paper. Urologist on a mission, Dr. Lemuel Bray's battle against prostate cancer. Will you fight over a man? Well, that's a question for the women out there. Other stories on the front page.
Like, why would you even think?
But I said it's not for
that?
you. I didn't ask you. I said it's for the ladies out there. $715,000 online fraud scheme. 2 granted 2 million Ghana cedis bill. Trader jailed 10 years, 498,000 Ghana cedis. Car sale fraud. What's happening? The back page, Mirror Sports, Midiama Lions primed to maintain perfect starts. If you look at The Spectator, your weekend companion, traditional priest slaps interpreter for wrong interpretation. For wrong interpretation. We're trying to use it. That's funny. Gold stars on the back page, Spectator Sports. Gold stars Kotoko brace for tough clashes in CAF competitions. And Swidro All Blacks Ibrekum Chelsea upset.
I know. can we go into some of the headlines right now?
Yes, definitely.
I want to start with a story on the toxics. It's a news center story
Okay.
on the
lead and the cyanide
yes,
and the
lead and
mercury
cyanide in
found in our greens and
yes.
turmeric, right?
So you're right. So the big headline is lead, mercury found in turmeric cereal mixes and others. So there's a little challenge. Okay, I see it now.
All right.
A minute, hang in there a minute, hang in there a minute, hang in there a minute. So a national summary report on heavy metal contaminant assessment conducted by the Food and Drugs Authority has revealed high levels of heavy metals in some selected food and cosmetic products in the Ghanaian market. The surveillance across 16 administrative regions assessed levels of lead, cadmium, and mercury in turmeric cereal mixes, Tom Brown, and in ayilo, bentonite clay, you know ayilo, and kaji, and some light or skin lightening creams and lotions. The national summary report was supported by the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, and its findings were presented to stakeholders including market women, regulators, health professionals, researchers, industry representatives, consumer advocates, and development partners. The findings revealed that CORE recorded a 77.79% contamination rate for lead, with Upper East and Eastern regions recording a 100% contamination rate. Turmeric recorded a 42.09% contamination rate for lead, with Greater Accra and Central regions recording the highest level of contamination. Cereal mixes, popularly called Tom Brown, also recorded a 29% contamination rate for cadmium, with the Northeast, Western North, and Oti regions being the most affected. And the report goes on and on and on. Clearly, we are in the last days.
Yesterday, we spoke to the FDA, and I think one of the questions that Sammy posed to him was that, so how do we tell which Tom Brown, has these things? And even him, no.
Sammy was particularly disturbed about this
because
stuff
his kids love Tom Brown just as much as I do.
How do you know his kids?
He told me because I asked him. Because if you remember during our afternoon meeting, he was like he really wants to do that story, and I asked him why is he so particular about it. I mean, they've been saying it I think since Monday or so. There was another report that it's been found in kontomire and some other foods. So he was like, yeah, because his kids love Tom Brown. And yeah, so the FDA just says we should be careful. But how are you careful? How do you know
how
the
careful
source?
Can you be?
Yes, the source where the market woman you go and buy your Tom Brown from, you don't know her source. And even if you know her source, what tests have been done on that particular Tom Brown? So like I said, when the one I have is finished,
that's it.
I'm done with Tom Brown, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I have to change my favorite.
We are being told that the conditions are not ripe for a state of emergency, when every other fact in the face flies, against it, right? So we have water treatment plants shutting down. Of course, the effect of the shutting down of the treatment plant did not happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's as a result of all of the years of, neglect and damage. Now we are told there's lead and mercury in food that are supposed to be eaten.
Consume.
Yeah.
Aside that, Greco lines are also being affected.
Exactly.
There are big poles and all of those things.
And they've come to complain. I can also talk about how local economies in these various galamsey areas have been significantly altered, if not damaged, right? So if there's no point learning to be a seamstress, because what's the point, right? So everybody wants to do galamsey. It's a ticking time bomb. We are hearing stories around foreigners getting involved, armed foreigners for that matter. So for me, I'm wondering what else, and the president, when he made a press, said that he has not sort of utilized all existing options available before the declaration of a state of emergency. So I'm interested in finding out what else exists that can be done before the state of emergency. And I expect the president to be able to tell us. He gave an amazing speech at the UN General Assembly, right?
Yeah.
It's nice, it's great, but we also have what many have described as an ecocide. Some have described as terrorism, right, on our environment, which literally is an existential threat. So for me, see, I don't know what else government wants to see before an active and decisive action is taken on the fight. So we can give all the flowery speeches in the world. We can say all the nice things, and like the president said, we can even use nice words in describing situations, right? But if it quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, then it is a duck.
Definitely a duck.
If the water is polluted, if the food stuff we are getting from the farms are contaminated, if we can't get clean drinking water to drink, what are you telling me that we don't need a state of emergency for? So,
yeah, telling the president the same thing he told the
see,
UN General
it's about time. It's really about time, because this threatens our very existence.
It does, actually.
You know, so I don't know what else we are waiting for to see.
Very soon we'll be told not to eat anything, because it's all been laced with mercury or lead or something.
And we are being told that you import water. They started saying you import water like 2016, you know, and somehow we are like, oh, like that.
There's more time.
Now treatment plants are not working. So you know, like what when they say again, viewers, it's not like we want to be alarmist too.
Who is being allowed to import mercury into the country? Because as far as I know, we don't make mercury in Ghana.
Yeah,
so
but
we're in this country, all of these
we're in this country, they say 1,000 excavators or so. They say a day, about 200 excavators are imported into the country, and they are telling us that they've put trackers. Yeah, all of those, but we know that, like, see, and again, the problem is not about the enforcement. It's the loopholes people take advantage of, right? So the problem is not about the laws, I beg your pardon. It's about the enforcement, because there are so many loopholes. And we are saying that it's nice, you put trackers on. Like, we get that other people bring excavators into the country for other reasons other than galamsey. Yeah. That's great. But, you know, what at all would demand 200 excavators? So I want them to come and give us a portal that we are able to, the public, also track where all of these excavators are going. That will clear our minds. But, you know, we can't be producing or importing this much excavators into the country, then you are being told that, oh, it's not what you think. It's not like, we know what excavators are being used for. So the minister went to GBC last week, or in the course of the week, and said that 1,400 people have been arrested, 800 chang fans have been seized, 900 water pumps have been...
These are all things we've seen, and it's been done.
You know!
There's nothing new there. I don't know whether he expected us to applaud him or tell him kudos, because we've heard this before. It's been done before. It's not a new thing.
It's just the fight, you know, the government's fight against galamsey, I think is non-existent, and it is so demoralizing. They say blue water guards. Let's be real, right? So for me, until we see an active crackdown, like, see, when Anado launched, it didn't work, right? But when he launched, I think one Operation Halt, you could clearly tell that there was an intent, right? Yeah. Along the line, there was, you know,
a bit of change in the water as well.
You know, exactly. Yeah. See, photos have been posted as a result of what the water bodies look like after some of these things. So, may I say, like Dumso defined the president's first term, galamsey will define the second term. And if he's so much bent on leaving a legacy, I think he should.
This should be it.
I'm telling you.
This should definitely be
what single thing does he stand to lose if he fights galamsey?
Absolutely nothing.
You know, he rather puts his name in the history books.
Forever and ever.
You know, so we beg him. I don't know what he knows. That
we don't know.
That we don't know.
Or he can't tell us.
For which reason he feels that we don't need a state of emergency. But on the face of the evidence, you know, we need something drastic. If he doesn't even want to do the state of emergency, we need a more drastic approach than what's currently pertained, because there's no fight going at all. And, like we've been told, we all stand there. Pharmaceutical society, those people, they'll always just kind of complain about salary, they'll go and sit somewhere.
I was speaking to the secretary of the GMA. I'm like, Doc, you people need to talk, because I'm sure you see it's much more scary diseases, things you probably didn't even see. Maybe you saw it while you were in school, in the books that you read. And you're now manifesting in
real life.
Come and talk. Come and talk. Tell us the kind of things that you're seeing in those hospitals, in those districts, in those rural areas that, are consuming these things. Because at the end of the day, the water that they use to, water their plants, they all come here. We all eat some. Now we're being told that certain foods we cannot eat. Well, are you done ranting? So I'll move on to the next story.
It was a friendly chatter to the president.
Oh, we're having a friendly chat with the president.
I was very much impressed with his speech.
UNJ speech.
Yeah, and I'm only just adding that he should, aside all the other issues, also be very minded about the real threats of galamsey. So yeah.
Okay, so this should be good news to Ghanaians going for a visa. The U.S. has restored our 5-year multiple entry visas for Ghanaians after July restrictions. That story broke last night. So Ghana has secured a major diplomatic breakthrough as the United States has reversed the visa restrictions imposed on the country earlier this year. The development means Ghanaians are now eligible for 5-year multiple entry visas, along with other enhanced consular privileges. The announcement was made by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, on his Facebook page on Friday, September 26. He said the information was communicated to him by the U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs, Alison Hooker, during a bilateral meeting with Ghana's delegation on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And I think most of us saw that post, starting with big win for Ghana. And the reversal has been described as a sign of healthier and stronger Ghana-US relations going forward. So
a lot of people are asking, is that the reason why we gleefully, and almost, in a very ecstatic manner,
took the deportees?
They're like,
I knew that's where you were
it's okay, it's just calm.
I knew that's where
except that people are saying that next time you just tell us, the truth.
I remember a couple of people that I know were so livid that they'd have to pay so much for so little. And so if they're going to give them just 3 months, they might as well reduce the visa fee. But I'm hoping that they haven't gone for their interviews yet, so that at least this will be some form of relief or some form of joy for them. Because, Charlie, to pay $100 and something for just 3 months single entry, and if you're someone who has to go to frequent the US a lot within the year, that becomes a problem, because that means anytime you have to go, you have to pay extra. Well, not pay extra, but you have to pay money and now look for a date for your interview, which is also another issue that I think the minister should look at. And it's not just the U.S. Embassy, other embassies too. It's becoming difficult to get interview dates. So if something pops up within the year and you haven't prior arrangements, you don't have prior arrangements, you might not be able to go to whatever you have to go to. So that's unfortunate. I wanted to read the traditional priest, if you don't have a story.
Yeah.
Slapping his interpreter. A bit of that story. In one of the most unexpected moments of the solemn funeral rites of the late Asante Herman and Akunedu Yadom III, the ancient world of spiritual protocol collided with human error in a way that left onlookers gasping at the Menchia Palace. It was a powerful slap from a traditional priest to his interpreter for wrong interpretation in the presence of the Asantehene Otumfo Osei II. It happened on Tuesday, second day of the funeral event, during the traditional spiritual rites, as a fetish priest of Asante completed his reverential dance before the Asantehene. The priest, his body still swaying with the rhythm of ancestral spirits, began reciting sacred incantations, words that carried the weight of centuries but needed translation for the modern moment. The interpreter stepped forward, his role crucial in bridging the mystical and the royal. The Asantehene watched with what observers described as amusement as the translation began, the sacred words flowing into contemporary understanding. And then came the slap. Sharp, sudden, and delivered with the authority of someone who would not tolerate imprecision in matters of the spirit. The priest palm connected with the interpreter's face in full view of the king, the chiefs, and thousands of mourners. The sound seemed to cut through even the drumming and chanting. The translation was inaccurate, the priest declared, with his voice carrying the weight of spiritual indignation. In the world of mysticism, words are not mere communication, they are vessels of power, bridges between the living and the ancestors. And so, mistranslation is not just an error, it is a disruption of cosmic order. The interpreter, perhaps shaken, but understanding the gravity of his mistake, composed himself and resumed his work with noticeably improved precision. And the story goes on and on. You can pick The Spectator and read a bit of that. Interesting. Interesting. I think it happens in the churches, does it not? Where the priest would say something in English and then the interpreter would
it happens a lot in
the
traditional Pentecostal
churches.
Yeah, especially those in typical traditional areas, right? Not necessarily, well. So, for example, if you go to they'll probably speak Tree. The preacher probably speak Ghana, and it'll be translated into Tree, or vice versa. In my church, sometimes when the preacher speaks in English, it's translated to Tree. Oh. So yeah, and it can be very frustrating if the translator is doing his own thing.
Wrong.
It can be really frustrating. Anyway,
Done?
Yeah.
All right. So, when we come back, we have What's Happening, one of our favorite segments in the show. Don't go away.